Hey, welcome back to the Blue Collar Off-Road Podcast, episode 126. We're here, I'm getting ahead of myself. I haven't messed up the intro in a while. I'm Graham. I'm here with Luke, Cody, and Richie. And we have Zach Wolfe on today, and he's got a 1-ton XJ? I think it's a 1-ton, right? Based on the pictures I look. I just started following you here, so he's got a pretty sick build, and I hate to bring it up immediately, but you also have some difficulties that have are definitely make the build notable alongside the fact that it's just a cool build in general. So well, I think we'll just jump right into like what got you into Jeeps and building this one in particular.
So I 11 years ago I was in a automobile accident that left me wheelchair bound. Actually broke my neck, C5-6. So it affected my whole upper body. I had no arm movement at first or nothing. It was fucking scary. Yeah, it was super scary. So before I got hurt, I was always into off-roading. I had trucks, Jeeps, always worked on stuff, and just was in that passion of off-roading. But I never, after my accident when I was 19 is when it happened, 19 years old, and I didn't think I'd ever be able to get in a Jeep, drive again, anything. And about 2 years after my accident, I started in the Jeeps again, and it was really difficult for me to get up in them. I needed full assistance to transfer in a Jeep from a wheelchair to, I had a Wrangler at the time, to transfer up into it, and I couldn't. I needed full assistance. Like, somebody basically had to pick me up and get me in it. And it got very old very quickly, but I did it for years. And I just needed full assistance. Once I got up in that Jeep, I forgot everything. Everything disappeared in my life. Any worry I was in the Jeep on the trails. I was in my own zone. And that's why it was sort of a therapy in its own for me, recovery. So that's my main thing, was to get up, drive the Jeep. But I wanted to do it on my own someday. So that's where the story of the XJ started. It was pretty crazy. We got this XJ for, I think, $700 when we got it first.
Typical. That's typical Cherokee price right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It had about 200,000 miles on it, and I mean, it was pretty solid. Wasn't in bad shape. Dents and shit, but no major rust. Too bad. So I work with a company, Hardcore Off-Road, and they build Jeeps, custom builds, custom anything, mega trucks. They build everything. So been working with him for the past 6 years, and we got this Jeep. And our plan was to destroy it first and then build it. Well,
solid plan.
It was, I guess, beat it pretty hard. When we started, this Jeep had a 3-inch coils and nothing crazy, all homemade lift. Like, it was pretty basic. I had a set of 33s we threw on it, cut the fenders out, and we literally took it one weekend and beat the shit out of it. We jumped it. We had it standing on its front end, almost endoed forward, bent the axle in a U, sent the shock to the top of the hood, fucking blew the leaf springs through the back. Oh, it was bad. So
sounds exciting.
Then we disconnect the airbags on it, obviously, because we didn't want them to go off when we were doing it. But I didn't do this personally. The owner of Hardcore Off-Road, Corey, he did it. And the plan was, we never had this plan to build the Jeep that I have now. The plan was just to build something crazy as a crawler. We got into it more, and we started talking, and he's like, we need to build you something. We need to get you something that you can get up in yourself, and something you can follow me in. He got a crawler, and he got a 1950 Plymouth on 43s, custom frame and stuff. It's pretty cool. So I needed something to follow him. He said, so he took his time, he donated his time, and built this Jeep. We had a vision. I had a vision that I needed a seat to come out to get me up into the Jeep. No idea how that was going to work. And we still didn't really, it was all trial and error at first. And that was our first game plan. How are we going to do this to get me up into it? And it started from there. And we sort of collaborated some ideas, and he came up with using a hydraulic cylinder and a seat that flips out of the rocker. We both sided it. So there's a switch on the driver's side door panel that lets this gate down. On it sort of, the rocker opens up, seat flips out, and the seat comes down, and I can transfer to this seat, and it lifts me up into the Jeep, transfer into the driver's seat, and then let the lift down and tuck it away, and can't even tell it's there. Pretty freaking cool.
That's fucking sick.
Now, how often do you smash that? Because just from seeing the video of you transferring in, it looks like it's in prime spot for a rock to smash it.
It's a 1/4-inch steel. I hit it very, very hard the end of last year when I finished the build up, and it didn't do anything. It actually handles very well. The way he built it, it's all braced, so it's not. If I smash it, it shouldn't do anything. And the seat's tucked away under the seat that comes out that I transfer to actually tucks underneath the body, so it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now that I watched the end of that, it looks like it tucks up pretty far under there. How does that all fits between your transfer case and stuff?
Yeah. Yep.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It was very. He drew it up and then on CAD and came up with it, and I was like, holy shit. But yeah, that was the first part of the whole build, is to figure that out.
Gotcha. So like the seat was the first thing you guys sort of pieced together, or was okay?
We had to think that out before we started. He wanted to think that out just before we started doing the build.
Makes sense.
Because we wanted to boat side it, so we cut the doors, the bottoms of the doors as well, so we could lift everything up and build into the rockers, and then boat sided it down to the skid plate. So it's a pretty stout setup. The Jeep's fucking heavy. I mean, it's built very heavy because we didn't want it to break, and knock on wood, it hasn't did anything yet. But that was our first plan. How are we going to do that? And then we started building off that, and we got axles in the 60s, and figured out how we're going to do it. We stretched it. I think we ended up stretching it 4 inches or 6 or 12. I don't remember. We stretched it back and we cut it. He built the whole back part of the frame. We cut it off almost right behind the path or the back seats, and we ran channel to the back and built the bumper right into the channel, and then built the gas tank. The gas tank is in the hatch in the back, but we had to build it so my wheelchair could fit in and still fit in without, so I could tie it down when I'm on the trail we put tie downs on the cage in the inside. Mm-hmm. So we had to make sure that all worked. So this was a fully thought out, handicap accessible, I call it, build, because it needed to suit me. I had to be able to get up into it. I had to be able to basically get my chair into it if I wanted to, which I have put a chair in the back seat. And I had, if my wife or people go with me, I need to be able to put the chair in the hatch so somebody could throw it in the hatch, and it had to fit back there and tie down. Mm-hmm. So this was a thought out build. And then, we started from that. Then we put the axles, we did the axles, mocked everything up with the axles. Got a set of big shot coilovers and just started building.
Mm-hmm. So it's coilover in the rear and coils up front?
Yep. Coilovers all the way around.
Gotcha.
solid setup. I'm gonna
Yeah,
guess triangulated 4-link in the rear.
Yeah. Yep.
Solid.
Yep.
Just looking at it, that thing looks like it's got a weigh in close to 6,000 with the amount of other work that's been done to it, tires and everything.
I've never had it on the scale. You said weight, right?
You would be surprised. The weight adds up so quickly. It's not even funny.
I will say it is definitely. We were gonna this summer. Well, we're gonna get it on the scale. Just as for curious, he just got his buggy on the scale, so I want to get that on to see because we pull it with a 23 Jeep Wagoneer, and the Wagoneer has a Hemi, and it pulls it good, but it fucking squats pretty good.
Yeah, it's gonna, dude.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So we got this year. We got to get some airbags for that because we hauled it a couple hours. Well, a couple different shows, and hauls it good, but holy fuck, is it heavy?
Yeah.
Damn. So the reason I'm asking is I know that my Jeep, before the rebuild, weighed in at 53 with driver in it. 52-ish, or it might be closer to 54 with driver in it. I forget exactly what it was, but it was chunky, and your rig's got bigger tires, beadlocks, and a lot more 1/4 inch than my rig does.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's pretty close to probably over 6. It's freaking heavy, and it was built. All the arms, all the joints are very, very stout, big joints. We ran all the steering. Everything is very heavily built, so it's definitely going to be freaking heavy. But also, I did want to mention one thing that I had trouble with when I was off-roading, due to my injury, I don't have much core strength. So basically, if you picture it, I'm like a fucking bobblehead if I'm bouncing through the trails because I can't keep myself in a seat. So I struggled a lot in my Wrangler because I didn't really have racing seats. So Core Brew found out that we were building this build, and we were shooting some messages back and forth, and they ended up hooking me up a set of seats and some harnesses. I got some harnesses and from PRP, and it was a freaking world of difference to sit in. When I got the Core Brew seats, I fit them. I needed to send them a whole fitment, and they sort of built them to me. And these seats were freaking awesome. I don't move at all in the seats because when I drive with hand controls, so I got to basically push straight forward for the brake, and I would always tend to fall forward. Well, with the harnesses and the way the seats are set up, I'm not moving at all, and it's it opened a whole new world for me.
Yeah, seats and harnesses are such a game changer. I mean,
dude, I couldn't believe it.
Even for a normal person, like if you're in something that's a little sketchy and you're kind of bouncing around, like you're gonna.
What are you saying? I'm not normal.
You're a normal person.
I'm not normal.
Good God, Graham. I know you didn't mean it that way, but holy
Lieutenant
shit.
Dan.
Oh my God.
I guess either way, sorry. Even for a fully core strength person,
I know.
Like it's still a little when you're on something that's off camber or you're bouncing around, it throws you around. You don't have pedal control, steering wheel control. If you're a manual, you might not be able to shift in the gear you want, right? All that stuff. Yep. And as soon as you're planted in a seat and a harness, you're good. Like you have so much more control. You're planted in the thing. It's definitely an amazing.
It's one of those mods that you don't realize is actually like fucking critical until you've done it, and you're like, holy crap! Because so for me, my instance with that was I had this ZJ buggy thing, and I had some less than stellar harnesses in there with factory seats. I rolled the thing, and I went into the roll cage because it was like fully chopped up, and I walked away with a full imprint of the side of my cage in black and blue that didn't go away for like a month.
Holy fuck.
So After
that
that,
harness setup was very sketchy,
Terrible.
Luke.
yeah, no, that was terrible. But that was also 7 years ago, so we've learned a thing or two since then.
No doubt. You learn as you go.
Yeah, after that though, I bought the Corbu Baja SS's with the PRP 5.3 harnesses, and I'm still running the same setup to this day because they are like, they come and they wrap all the way around you. So
Yep,
you
that's harnesses
don't.
I think that's harnesses I got. They're fucking awesome.
Yeah, and I've got the deep buckets because after that, like falling out of the seat, I never wanted to go through that again. So I can only imagine that in your case, you probably went with a set of deep buckets and obviously quality harnesses.
Yeah, I had to, and it, like you said, it's a complete game changer. It really is. Yeah. The other thing that fucking sucks is we haven't did anything yet because it really hasn't happened lately. But sometimes, from my injury, I get it only happened one time in my Wrangler, so knock on wood. I get leg spasms sometimes because my legs get but from my injury, my legs spasm. Well, my fucking leg spasmed and it got stuck underneath the fucking brake, and I couldn't hit the brake, and I'm going down pretty nice size hill. Well, yeah, that was a little bit scary. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. Yeah, because my foot kicked forward and got stuck underneath the brake. My wife's in the passenger seat. I'm like, I can't fucking stop. We made it. We made it out.
I mean, I've never put my foot under the brake pedal, but I've had other crap get under my gas pedal and brake pedal, and you're flying around, stuff's moving, right? It happens. It happens to the best of us.
I had a similar issue with the clutch pedal on my Focus a few years ago, where my bootlace got tied around the clutch pedal.
Oh my god!
Awkwardly underneath the brake pedal and the clutch pedal, and I couldn't stop, and I couldn't pop the car out of gear, and I was flying up a hill in traffic.
That sounds terrifying.
That would not be good.
Yeah. Holy moly!
So that I've been wanting to ask, and I think this is a perfect segue. So, what is your control scheme like? You mentioned you still use the brake pedal, so what's all involved there? Do you still have all the foot controls?
Yeah, so all the foot controls, somebody can jump in it and drive it if normally. But what I have for my controls is on the steering wheel, I have a tri-pin, it's called. So my wrist goes in this pin, and my hand goes around like a knob almost. And that helps me steer because my right hand, I have I have no function in my right hand, so I can't really do anything with that. My left hand, I have about 80% function. So my left hand, next to the steering wheel, I have a hand control. So you basically rock back for the gas and then push in for the brake. So I don't use any of my feet, nothing like that, but I drive everything with my hands. But it's super simple. You just rock back for the gas, push in for the brake, which was very hard because you guys know from off-roading, you got to brake and gas a lot and be on the gas when you're on the brake. And it was a little bit challenging to get used to. Over the years, I got pretty good at it, and people can't believe when they see me on the trail and they're like, I jump out in my wheelchair and they're like, holy fuck, how do you drive that thing? And I show them and they're like, holy man, because it is sort of challenging because the way the setup is, but the hand controls that I got in my Jeep right now are the same ones I got in my car, but the ones I got in my Jeep actually came out of a Razor. I took them out of I had a Polaris Razor a long time ago, and we modded them up. My buddy that owns Hardcore, Corey, he modded them up, and we fit them right to the steering column, and they work freaking perfect. So it worked out well.
Okay, sweet. So you still have all the controls, the original controls are still there, like I said. You just also have the hand controls, and it's interesting. I never knew how any of that worked, so it's kind of interesting to, have some sort of idea how it all fits together here.
Yeah. I mean, it's super simple. The hand control actually mounts to the on the gas and brake behind the gas pedal and behind the brake pedal. So we drilled right through the actual, like the rod that comes down. We drilled through both of them. Just popped the hand control like a bolt through, and tightened them up, and they're good to go, and they're out of the way for somebody to drive it.
Awesome.
So
Yeah,
with that setup, this is making me ponder on things. Do you have a different transfer case, or is it still a 231J?
I got a transfer case out of Rubicon, a
Okay.
2006 Rubicon.
So that must help a little bit with like being able to not have to like do the brake clutch or brake gas thing as much if you're able to gently roll into things.
Correct. It made a world of difference. It made a world of difference from my Wrangler to my old Wrangler to this one. I was constantly have to be on the brake, going down a hill or going up to an obstacle, having to gas brake. But this sort of crawls with. I have 538 gears, so it crawls pretty good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Remember back in the day, Motor Trend did an episode on Dirt Every Day. Have you ever seen that episode where they did? It was either like a versus or however they did it. There was a gentleman who was on the show who also was handicapped, and he had a rock crawler of sorts. And I remember that he was talking about that he adjusted his orbital valve to have as little resistance as possible to assist him with it. And I was just curious because I don't know, I'm a little bit out of that loop. And do you think that that's something that would help you, and or have you done something like that for yourself?
I haven't done that, but that would be something to try. I didn't see that, and I would definitely probably gonna look that up when we get off this because I want to check it out.
On that note, I just thought of something else with that. Do you have a load sensing or non-load sensing orbital in there?
I think it's a non-load sensing. I'm not sure.
Okay,
I'm not sure
the reason that I was asking is because the load sensing will send feedback back into the wheel. Non-load sensing should not.
I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, sorry. It was just a point of curiosity. Like, do you get steering wheel feedback through the full hydro back?
I don't know. I don't. It actually drives pretty good through. Like, even I was very surprised. I did a redneck Ram setup, and it actually drives surprisingly well, even down the road, which I didn't think it would handle as well as it did.
So it's not full hydro; it's the assist.
It's assist. Yeah, it's like the Ram hydraulic assist. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
That's interesting that you're not having any kickback because I did a redneck V2, if you will, like as in there was no redneck Ram involved, but tractor parts are what make up my hydro assist.
That might be why yours feels a little weird because
it feels perfectly fine, but like it does kick back. Like when I dropped the Jeep, it kicked the steering wheel out of my hands after falling out of I kind of fell sideways out of the V-notch at Crawler Ridge, which is located in Roush. And when I say I fell sideways, there's a video of it on my Instagram. The whole Jeep just kind of like kicked over on one tire, and it debeated the tire, bent the rim, bent the steering, broke like the leaf spring mounts. It was a pretty hard fall, so it's not shocking that it ripped the steering wheel out of my hands, but
yeah, it drives well. I mean, I never had that happen. And I just, so you said Roush, like,
yeah,
Roush 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just there. We were just there at the end of last year.
Hell yeah.
We're oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We host kind of annually. This year we're moving it, but it's probably going to end up for next year. We call it the Web Wheelers Ball. It's Labor Day. Labor Day weekend. And basically we just go, and people that have been wheeling with us for a while, and now it's kind of become part of the like Blue Collar Off Road podcast thing. We go there for the 3 days and wheel basically the whole park, except for we skip the mud side of things because
Not
Yeah.
always. Not always.
or we don't intend to hit the mud side of things, I should say.
No.
But we do that. This year we're going to Good Evening Ranch.
That's one place I want to check out. I've never been there.
Well, first weekend of September, make some time and meet us down there. Love to have you.
First weekend of September.
Yes.
Okay. I will have to put that on my calendar.
Good. I'm excited.
Everyone that comes on the podcast has an invite. It's not like exclusive to people that are on the podcast. Anyone can show up, but we always tell people that are on the podcast to show up.
Hell yeah.
And it's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I forget the exact dates off the top of my head. I think it's like right before Memorial Day, the weekend running up to it.
Okay.
Or Labor Day, I'm sorry.
Labor Day. Okay.
Yeah, it's in September.
See, I always forget the holiday, so I just tell people first weekend of September. Like, it's so much easier.
It is so much easier. But if you have not been to Good Evening Ranch is a sick park and a beautiful park also. It's weird because it's like a ranch, but it's also an off-road park, and so you'll come out of the trail and there's one trailhead where you have to politely drive past the barns, and it's great to do at 3 a.m.
Hey.
And that dog was barking at you.
Oh, that dog was not happy with us.
I didn't even see this dog. I don't know if it was real. But I was told there was a dog that nearly chomped Luke when he tried to open the gate.
No, it got Jake. Or it didn't get Jake. It was going after Jake. So you have to open this gate to come back out of the trails. Graham's rig is drive shaftless behind us, so we had pulled him out because he broke at the lowest elevation in the park. Whatever, just throw a tow strap on it, drag it out. And so we go get up there, and he opens the gate, and I was like, "You want to disconnect Graham? I'm sure that he can make it back to the cabin in front wheel drive." This dog starts losing its mind and running around, and around the barn, and there's nothing between us and this dog that is having a fucking conniption. So Jake's like, "Nope, I'm not uncoupling the fucking Jeep. I'm getting the fuck in, and you're gonna put it in gear."
Oh my.
Yeah, but it was a good time, and it's a beautiful park. You're all the cabins and camping spots are up on the top, and then the wheeling is all around the top of the hill I don't think it's a valley. It's just sort of lower elevation wooded area. It's cool.
I watched some videos on YouTube of the sort of a couple videos on there, and it looks fucking sweet.
Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting obstacles.
And the other cool part is, I don't know if you've been to Roush. You know how you can go to Roush and you'll go on one trail to hit one obstacle? Yeah. Good Evening Ranch is more like a New England type of wheeling where you will go on a trail, for example, there's a trail called Rubicon. The whole trail is an obstacle. It's not like you're going down a green, for lack of a better term, to hit a black obstacle. You're on a black trail. And there's a bunch of bypasses and whatnot for smaller rigs to go around, but if you stay on the main trail, it's pretty tough. Or not tough, but you're constantly going obstacle to obstacle to obstacle. You're not driving 20 minutes, 30 minutes, hitting one obstacle, and then driving 20 minutes to the next.
See, that sort of sucks because you're going on green to blue to black to back to green.
Yep. The only thing I'll say that's a little bit less than ideal if you like to go fast is that you can't go fast anywhere in that park. But no, it is what it is.
Yeah. I'm no no speed demon anyways, but I know what you mean about that. Having to drive to get to a black or red or whatever trail.
What obstacles have you? Or sorry.
No, you guys been to Roush, and so do you know? Funny story. You know when you just come out through the gate, and then they have the play area, the rocks and shit there.
Yeah,
the competition.
Yeah. So if you go through the gate, past the first set of rocks are on your left, and then you go, and then there's that second big, I guess, one big huge rock on your left. You know what I'm talking about? So me and my wife went down to Four Wheel to Heel, just us two, and I'm like, I rode some really lame trails. I got with a group that really I didn't have to challenge myself at all. So I was like, I want to try this. So I wanted to go straight up over that rock. And I got set up to it and sort of crawled. And this is actually the first time I actually had the Jeep and tried to test it out, which I should have did with somebody that could spot me. My wife does all right, but I had to get up and move and sort of swing my front end around. So long story short, I get myself in quite the pickle in the middle of the fucking rock. I'm basically sideways. My front end slid, and I'm sideways on this rock in the middle of it because there's like a little ledge. And that's where the Jeep really sort of impressed me. I put my front locker in. I had it in, took it out to try to swing my front end around, put it back in, and I was like, well, I have fucking one choice here. I have a 10-foot drop behind me that if I was going to go back, I was going to roll it sideways or backwards. So I was like, I got to fucking go straight up over this hill. So the old 4.0, I fucking put it in the wood and smoked tires off, and it made up the fucking hill. I was like, holy shit. That's where I really got impressed with this fucking thing. I was super impressed with it. But I'm not super good with the names of the trails down there. We hit quite a few. We ran all blacks, but we hit, I don't know. I remembered a couple of them. I don't even know if the cemetery is a black one or not. We hit a couple. If you said some names, I'd probably know.
Cemetery is
Moon, Crawler
Trail 5, Hill
Ridge,
Climb.
Cemetery. Yeah, I remember Cemetery. I don't remember what.
Yeah, Tombstone was a fun little offshoot.
Yeah,
that one's one of
Tombstone.
the good ones.
We did that one. We did that one too.
That center line there is a ton of fun.
It is. The center line on that trail?
Yeah.
Yeah. We did that one, and then where's the you know where I was gonna this year when we go back, I wanna sort of try it. That sort of where everybody meets in the middle, there's a big slate rock, like everybody tries going up. You know what I'm talking about? Sort of
Trail
seems like
5,
everybody
or
Is
I think it might be Trail 5.
Trail 5 Hill Climb, or
is that where it's almost like just a smooth rock. That's probably That's the we hit that, and then there was a ton of people there. I wanted to try that, but
Could be Jotter's Way too. Could be Jotter's Way.
yeah, I guess it depends. Jotters is definitely it's larger, but it's more towards not really towards the center of the park. I think Trail 5's not really towards the center either, but it is
Closer. It's closer.
Yeah, it's closer.
Yeah, a little closer. It's definitely more of a joining spot, whereas Jotters is less so, I think.
Yeah, Jotters is off the power line.
Yep.
Which those are wickedly fun.
Jotters. I'm terrible with the trail names. I just
Were you next to the power lines? Were you next to the power lines?
So put it this way: if we came off the power line to the left, there's that trail you come down. You come right to the top of that where I'm talking.
Yeah,
you come
I believe that's Jotters.
That's
Jotters. Then. Yeah.
Okay, that's where I was talking about.
Damn, I never even driven my Jeep there, and I know it, Graham. Jeez.
Yeah, well, you walked the entire park.
Good point. My feet know that whole
You really get to soak in those trail names, and you got to hike up every single one.
Gets in my Jeep, rides around with me for a little while, starts puking, goes back to walking.
I was dying. It was a rough day.
How come you were puking?
We believe dehydration. I wasn't puking because there was nothing in my stomach to puke up, but it was extreme dry heaves for sure.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lesson. Let's put it that way. It was a stupid mistake on my part, and I definitely learned from it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was riding with me, and I had like this little. It's like a lunchbox, but it kind of clips into my cage really well. And I put like 9 waters in there. I drank 6 of them, and there was 2 left. So I'm guessing he drank 1 water for the entire weekend.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still hot in September out there.
It was definitely humid. I remember that specifically. That but it was like, I don't know, because it wasn't super hot. Because it like on a hot like summer day, dude, I'm chugging waters. Like when we went down to Tennessee, it was warm enough to where if I'm not chugging waters, I'm pretty much fucking dying. So
that reminds me, for the meet and beat, I need to go and buy water.
Yeah.
So did you guys go to Wheeling, Tennessee too at Wind Rock? Is it?
AOP. We've been
AOP.
we went to AOP last year. Me and Luke are going again in 2 weeks.
Nice.
And then I'm floating around, so I'm one of the guys from Massachusetts. I'm heading down to stay with Luke, he lives in Tennessee, who's here for the month. So we'll see what we can get up to and just kind of float around and wheel down there for the month and pretend to do other things. Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Fuck yeah! Now how far? So are all you guys throughout the how far are you away from Roush? Like, what's the farthest?
6 hours for me.
12. I think 5.
Okay.
So to give you a good I don't know, space area, Luke is from Tennessee, but he lives in Tennessee currently, but he's from Connecticut. That's how we know him.
Okay.
And then Graham lived out by Boston, and I'm next to the Basketball Hall of Fame, which Springfield. It's like 40 minutes from Boston. So
it's more than 40 minutes from Boston.
It's whatever. Okay, I don't know. Yeah,
it's an hour and a half.
In an XJ, maybe, but
no, in any vehicle, unless you're going 140 miles an hour.
Watch me. but yeah, that is kind of our locations. But yeah. So shoot, I had a whole thing in my brain and then I just lost it. Nope. I got.
No, I definitely like to meet up with you guys and we'll definitely sometime. You were talking about hot and dehydrated. That's my only bitch. Is we tucked everything up so close, like the exhaust and everything's tucked up so close. It gets so fucking hot in that Jeep in the summer. What do you guys do? What do you guys do? Like to stay cool? You don't got AC, or you do got AC?
I have AC.
Take the hatch off.
Yeah. You take the hatch off?
I took the hatch off. It doesn't fit anymore.
Do you have a carpet?
No.
The carpet with the insulation. The carpet with that insulation is like the secret to keeping the XJ floors cool, because they do heat up. For whatever reason, the things are like toasters in the summer without that floor.
Yep. Another thing that works surprisingly well is the John from Trail Trash. I don't know if you follow them on Instagram, but they're cool dudes. Yeah. I think it's like an aluminum foil looking stuff that sticks to the floors, and he's got that in his, and I've ridden in that thing a time or two, and surprisingly, I mean, his AC works, I believe, but like even without the AC on, when I was in it, it did not get hot with the LS and the Y pipe in there. And another thing that sounds really stupid until you think about how it works is taking a cooking pan or not a cooking pan, but like one of those sheet pans that you can go and buy, and just sheet metal screwing that into or above your cat and above your muffler. It helps to redirect the heat away from the body.
Huh. Well, thanks. I'm gonna try some of that shit.
I've never heard that sheet metal, the cooking pan thing. That's interesting.
I never did it. That's very interesting.
It's pretty cheap to do too. So like, even if it gets destroyed, it doesn't matter.
No, that's a good idea. Thanks. My downfall is, like I said, it gets, because of my injury, I don't sweat. So like, once I get hot, my nose will start running. That's how I know I'm hot. And once my nose starts running, I'm fucked. I better just. I need to get water. I need to dump. Like it's a matter of time. Like my body doesn't regulate the temperature very well, so it's I'm gonna fucking pass out if I don't do something. So that's why I need to do something to that thing.
Yeah, I would insulate the crap out of it. I mean, there's all sorts of like insulation things you can buy,
Sound
right? I think Kilomat, Dynamat, any of that stuff.
X-Mat is the stuff that I was thinking of.
Yeah. And then the carpet. I mean, if you don't have a carpet, but you still have your old one, clean it up, put some buy some of the stick-on stuff, and then put the carpet back in, and I guarantee you it'll be better.
Like I said, we just last year, the end of the year, with my actual real shakedown run, and then we just started running a little bit. Just got it out, did a couple things this over the winter, and got it out once this year. And now it's ready to go. So I got to finish up. That's my next main goal. But to get the heat, and like you guys helped me out a ton there, that's gonna work good.
Yeah. The stuff is. You want to get the stuff where it's got like the metallic on the backside, because the normal sound deadening stuff only helps a little bit. The like reflective stuff actually helps to direct it down. And then if you can't put your carpet back in, another really stupid sounding thing, but use a gray paint instead of a black paint, because it helps to radiate less heat.
Okay. Cool.
So when I go to redo my floors, like as far as painting them goes, I'm doing a Monster Liner gray instead of a black. Everyone does black, and all that does is create an oven effect.
Huh. I never would have thought of that. That's a. Huh.
But is it worth the? I mean, it's not going to look right if it's gray, Luke. I don't know.
All right, fine. I'll do a light.
I'm stuck in my ways. I'll bake with my black floor.
I'm over baking at this point. Like,
no doubt.
Yeah.
The doors are coming off before we go to s'more. The hatch is already off, and then my plans still include, now that I've got a finalized transfer case solution, dynamatting it and then painting over that with the gray. So, like, I'm hoping that it'll be kind of comfortable inside of there again.
What are you running for a transfer case?
I just swapped over to a 241 OR out of a 13 Rubicon.
Nice. Now, are all you guys running 4.0s?
Yep.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. A funny story. I bought a 6.0 for this build, and then I thought, the 4.0 is gonna do it. I got a 6.0 super cheap off my buddy, and I was like, maybe I'll build that last winter and then but that's not going to go in. I'm going to keep the 4.0. The way we build it, we kept everything really tight, so not going to do that. But I picked another story, I picked my tires up. I got a set of 42-inch, the TSLs and the bead locks.
Yeah.
I picked them up, I think they're like 2 hours away from here. Picked them up there, still had the tits on the tires and everything, and I fucking picked them up for $1,000, wheels and tires.
Dude, that's a steal.
I
know. 40s or 42s?
42s.
Oh, no shit. That's not bad at all. That's a good deal.
And the wheels were nothing super great, but they did the job, and the guy said, I just didn't run them, and he was going to run them on a mud truck, and I'm like, I'll take them for sure.
We can find use for those. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no doubt. But another thing that I haven't used yet on that Jeep that will come in handy someday is we put a onboard air, and then I have the connect coming out my gas, where my gas door was, or I guess where my gas filler hose would be. But we put a quick disconnect for to run tools or whatever. So I'm anxious to try to use that someday too. So hopefully we'll get out and, I don't want to say break something, but it'd be fun.
I actually like that spot for the connector.
You what?
I actually like that spot for the connector.
Honestly, it was Corey came up with that, and I'm like, that's pretty freaking sweet. Yeah, it worked out well. But yeah, I mean the whole build and everything. I helped on the thinking part of it, but my buddy Corey, he did all the work. He donated hours upon hours of his time to do it. And I mean, it was just one of those things where a friend saw that, you know, what I had a passion for, what I wanted to do, and just hit the ground running and sort of, I don't know, sort of help me out. And now it's something that I can't even explain, because how mentally it helped me and how it helped me get through when I get up in it. Like I stated before, all my worries go away. When I'm in that Jeep, it's like people see a Jeep. I see it's life changing. I mean, honestly, it might sound stupid to a lot of people, but that's my getaway. That's my escape.
No,
So
I think you're with like minds, and I think a lot of people who listen are in that same boat as well, right? It's definitely an escape. It's not a normal person escape, right? Most people would want to go to Miami or somewhere nice and just relax. But for us, like that's never been my thing. I'm sure that's the same with a lot of other people too, right? It's relaxing in its own way. There's something about it that's just pulls you away from, like you said, reality, and you can just kind of focus on what you're doing, right? Which is wheeling.
Yeah,
you're 100% right.
And for me, the part that I really enjoy about it is that, like, it's something that you have time and effort into, and you get to go and be away from the stressors in something that you are familiar with. So,
correct.
You get to just. Also, some of the spots are just beautiful.
Yeah, 100%. That's it right there. Yeah.
Harlan. Oh, sorry.
No. I just look at it real quick. I was just gonna say, it's a community too. Like all you guys, like meeting you guys through this, and you create friendships. And everybody's willing. Any place I ever wheeled, anything happens, anybody's willing 90% of the time, willing to help or lend a hand, or they see it broke down, or they see it's a community. It's crazy.
Yeah. Great
Absolutely.
people, great parks.
Yes.
Good times. Always fun.
Definitely is.
Yeah, and as long as you're out during the day, everything can be pretty damn mellow.
Yeah.
Nighttime gets a little rowdy.
Well, I never really wheeled much at nighttime, but I'd be game for it.
It depends on who you're with too. Like the night rides at AOP are a totally different animal than the night rides at Good Evening.
Really?
Yeah, AOP becomes like.
I don't know. I mean, you were with definitely the more rowdy group. Me and Colin went out with I forget his name. MJ Crawlin and then Daddy Doan. We went out with those guys and a couple other people. And John and Casey, I think they were both there too. We followed them. It just happened to be that whole crew. It was, Shitbox royalty to some extent. And it was pretty mellow. I mean, we just putzed out there. We were looking at Little Caesars, and then there was one spot we had to hammer it back. We were going to do some other things, but it was low key. Nobody was like doing anything stupid. But there are definitely some people who who are doing much stupider things, and it happens. It just got to be smart.
For reference, I ended up in the because my Jeep had eaten a fuel pump, and when I had my moto built cell in there, it took forever for the fuel system. Like, you had to use the specialty RTV that takes 24 hours, and if you get gas on it before it cures, it doesn't cure, so you have to clean it all up again to get it to cure. So I was letting my Jeep sit, and I ended up with the buggy crowd as riding passenger. The guy I was with hit a 7,000 RPM neutral drop and sent a 14 bolt with the coilovers clean out of the back of his Jeep.
Holy fuck!
Yeah.
And Luke just gets out and goes to a new Jeep.
I was fucking drunk at this point, so yes. I was supposed to ride with this dude,
Well,
Sam.
the party's over here.
The party was definitely over there. And like, so we're kind of like looking at it, and I thought he was just gonna leave the Jeep and like fucking hop in with someone else because there ain't nothing fucking to do there. Like, you know, you've got a 14 bolt literally not attached to the vehicle anymore. So I hopped in with another guy, and we almost rolled a couple of times, and then we went and hit some of the other trails, and it got lower key from there, but it was still quite rowdy. But like at Good Evening Ranch, it wasn't as bad. We still broke stuff, Graham.
Oh yeah, drive shafts don't survive at night for some reason. I don't know why. Couldn't tell you.
What do you guys run for drive shafts? Do you run anything? What's your go-to?
Oh boy. Well,
Touchy subject.
Okay.
Luke, you run just
Used to.
custom ones, right?
Yeah. I run my front is a factory XJ shaft that I cut because I've got the high pinion 60 in there, and my front is stretched 3 inches, but due to where the pinion is and the manual swap on my Jeep, I cut the front drive shaft because it's way shorter than a factory one is now, and I sleeved it with 250 wall. No, I sleeved it with 120 wall, I'm sorry. And shortened it down 3 inches. And then in the rear, I used to run a lengthened Cherokee rear drive shaft. Originally it was stock, and then I pushed my rear axle back 8 inches, or 6 inches, I'm sorry. Because I'm sitting at 110 or 109 inch wheelbase. But now that I'm going to the 241 OR in the rear, I'm going to a 1350 120 wall drive shaft with the, I think it's the Tom Woods Mega slip. So hopefully that won't break.
Nice.
Graham has had some excellent
I
luck.
pay for my drive shafts like a normal person. I don't, because I still try to drive mine on the road, so I want it to behave kind of nicely, like custom. I don't trust myself to balance a drive shaft well enough to be able to go 60, 75 down the highway. Wishful thinking, I know, but you know, it's nice to have it not vibrate as you go. So I've worked with Adams since I did the 1-ton swap, and they've been relatively good to me. I've had a couple issues with just the wrong stuff being sent to me. I admittedly run a weird drive shaft. It's a 1350 at the axle side, and then 1310s at my transfer case, which wouldn't be weird, but I run a 205, which finding a 1310 yoke for a 205 output is difficult. They want to be at least 1330. They want to be big. But I kind of am in a weird spot where I had the old transfer case, so I just had those ends, the 1310, so I kept them, and I just haven't changed them around. And we've had some problems with pieces there. Their shipping's very good. I'll give them that. I've had some length issues here and there, and then I blew one of them. I blew up was totally my fault. I didn't have a traction bar; it ripped off, and I kept going. But the other one just. The slip yoke just self-destructed, completely shattered.
Oh yeah, that was
nothing
impressive.
left. They warranted that one. They were good about that, but it's been a little bit of a pain. I don't know if I'm just a dumbass or if there's like a legitimate confusion between some of the parts. Like I said, it's a weird drive shaft, but I'd be able to expect somebody to put a number down and 1310, 1350. There's a little bit of a difference. When it happens multiple times, it gets a little frustrating. But overall, the drive shafts have held up pretty damn well. The one that did explode that wasn't my fault was nothing. I've never seen a drive shaft explode like that. It didn't twist. It just shattered. Just everything went everywhere.
I've never seen this myself. It like split the yoke down the center. It was awesome.
It still functioned kind of. It sheared the end off, split the sides. It was in like 6-7 pieces, and it took out my traction bar or something. It all grenaded at the same time.
Holy shit!
Yeah, there's like a frame. You can watch the frame, and somebody got a video of it. There's a frame where everything's together, and then everything's apart.
Holy shit!
So I don't know. It's hard to tell what went first or what took what out. But
the part about this situation that he is not including is that he's got the 205 with the 231, and he got the nose up onto about a 4-foot tall, muddy ledge, and third gear clutch dumped it to the point where the nose came up in the air.
That was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't being nice to it.
That is the definition.
It's not the first time I've done it. It was the last time that trip. But yeah, they've been good. I would use them again, but I might try Tom Woods just to see what the hubbub is about, right? But overall, I mean, I complain about them, but I feel like I give them worse rep than they probably deserve.
On that note, I might be going with the Chattanooga drivelines, because Chattanooga driveline for the same drive shaft is coming in $200 cheaper.
Damn,
so, yeah, it makes the $750 bill being $550 a little bit easier to swallow.
Yeah, I would say. I guess I never checked any of their stuff out. I'll have to check it out.
They're like a little local shop.
Okay.
But so how do I put this? Right, where I'm located, it's right near where the old Etna Mountain used to be.
Okay.
And like Tim Cameron, Bubba Bacon, and the Bacon brothers are in the area. There's what is it? Not Northwest Fab. The shop that does all the custom chassis.
Busted Knuckle?
Busted Knuckle's pretty close too, but it's not Busted Knuckle. Wide Open Designs. That's who I was thinking of.
Okay. Okay.
All of those shops are within an hour of me, so this guy just turns out drive shafts for them.
Damn.
And
so they're built.
Yeah, they're built. But because of that, like, area that I'm in, they've got a guy there that just does buggy stuff. That's all that guy does is buggy drive shafts. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I talked to them today, and I think that's the route I'm going to go compared to going with the Tom Woods. Even though Tom Woods is a great drive shaft, I'd rather just buy local and pay cash.
Yeah, no doubt. So what are your guys' I guess on the same sort of note, but on drive shafts, I'm running Adams right now, but the reason I did, we were gonna build them. My buddy Corey's built some, but I did want to drive it on the road a little bit because where we're from, there are some trails of like just pissing around trails around, but our laws absolutely suck in PA.
Yes.
So it was very. I had to do some putting smaller tires on to get it inspected. And I actually just drove it the other day over about 20 minutes away to my parents, and I fucking cops followed me the whole way. It drives great down the road though, like fucking it does like 55, 60, pretty good. But it's not legal in PA. The fucking tires stick out and the bumper height's too high, so I'm gonna get pulled over eventually. But it does drive pretty good down the road. Fucking that's stupid, yeah.
I'm in the same boat. It's you look at it. You could look at it from 100 feet away, and you'd know it's not legal. I don't push my luck with it. It doesn't have an inspection sticker. You know, you can only do it so much. But for those local stints, right? It's nice to have the option, even if somebody might give you a little bit of crap. I don't want to. It's. For me, I'd love to build something that's more capable and does other things, but this Jeep is not that, right? I like it because it can do a bunch of stuff, but I can still drive it on the road. You can still take it out on a Sunday and scoot around and have fun. There's something fun about just driving a well-built shitbox on the road. It's just fun, right? There's just
dude, you're 100% right. I found those things. They got my heart now. I fucking love them.
Yep.
So where I live, you could register a toaster and drive it down the road. Like
you have to have blinkers though, probably.
You have to have blinkers, and you don't have to have a windshield. But if you don't have a windshield, you have to have goggles. Like really
makes me want to drive a fucking toaster.
I fully.
They're not legal in Connecticut. You're gonna have to hold.
How big of a toaster do you have?
Holy fuck! You make a fucking giant toaster.
That's a good point. Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
You could even rig it to use heating elements that are propane powered, so you could even toast while you're driving.
But like my Jeep is not a problem where I live. And I'm trying to buy a house right now, which is the reason that I'm not doing a full-blown buggy, but essentially the limitations are you have to have a OEM VIN, and anything with an OEM VIN is basically good to go. You're in for a world of shit trying to get a buggy registered, but like if you have a foot of frame rail and that foot of frame rail has a VIN, you can just drive it on the road here. Mine with no hatch, windows down and everything with the license plate shoved into the fuel cell mount, blowing past a cop at 65. Did not care.
That's fucking awesome. That would be nice.
In the summertime... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
In the summertime, you'll see the brodozers with their 3-foot lifts and whatnot going down the road, and sometimes I get a little sketched out by that, but it be what it be, and that's just how it be.
The fucking brodozers, I like that.
Yeah. But like the state's decision on it, to quote our governor, was inspection laws and vehicle inspections are an undue burden on the taxpayer, and that's why we're getting rid of emissions laws too. So we don't have emissions, inspections, nothing like that.
It definitely is an undue burden. It's nothing to do with them.
It's awesome as far as vehicles go for it being the Wild West. You do see a lot of broken down shit boxes on the side of the road, and I mean like shit boxes.
Oh my god!
I mean, that's unfortunately what comes with the territory. If anything goes, then literally anything will go.
Yeah.
More so, even if you're, there's a lot of properly built things that can now go on the road, even though they wouldn't be legal in someplace like Pennsylvania or Mass or Connecticut. You also have stuff that legitimately shouldn't be on the road.
Yeah, dude.
Well, those even like Cherokees now around our area. I don't know what the hell happened, but it seems like the price has skyrocketed.
Yep.
Like,
they're becoming a classic, right? You're right. They're becoming more popular for sure. And they're getting harder to find. They're all rotten out.
That's
especially
true.
Around us.
Yeah, that's around us too. But still, people that fucking things are rotted out, people still want $1,200 for. Like,
yeah,
260,000 miles. It's good. I'm glad I got what I got though.
Yeah, for 700, you can't beat that. Especially with no rod and anything like that. That's
it was super impressive when it was a good find, but needed a lot of work once we were done with it. So that's where it got the whole fucking makeover. I was really impressed with, because I never had coilovers and anything prior to this, and fucking coilovers, they're very nice. They are ride a lot. I think they ride a lot smoother than definitely my Wrangler. It rode a lot smoother on springs, but I mean, it was super impressive. The big shocks, I never ran them on anything, but they're pretty cool. I like them.
What do you run for ratios, if you have any idea, in the front and rear spring ratios?
I have 14 in the front, 12 in the front, 14 in the rear, or vice versa.
Okay. Probably vice versa. Probably 12
Vice versa. 12 in the front, 14 in the rear. Yeah, that's it.
Gotcha.
And I don't know. They ride good. I like them. They do the job.
Yeah,
no, that's
the rear coilover, the 4-link in the rear. That's like game changer for so many rigs. I'm still leaf sprung in the rear, but I've ridden with plenty of either buggy guys and just Luke's Jeep and other rigs where they've had leaf springs in the back, and then they put a 4-link in, and it's like it changes the entire thing. It's so much more comfortable. It's insane.
Yeah, I was very impressed. Now, are all you guys on 1-tons? Did you say?
No.
Me and Luke are.
Okay.
Me and Luke are both caged 1-ton Super Duty axles, and 40s is where we're at.
Nice.
Luke did the 4-link in the rear. He's got a regular coils up front, and I just coil overed my front end and sort of tubed out the front, and then my rear is still it's not stock, but it might as well be stock. It's very it needs some love. That's this next winter's project, hopefully.
It gets the job done, right?
Yep. It's really, I won't say it's never let me down, but I can't complain. It's really I'm used to it. I know how it works. It's flexing pretty good now that I've got things adjusted where they're supposed to be. Last year was a little shameful. It was not riding that great because I slapped it in very quickly. But this year, and second half of last year when it broke and I had to fix it, we changed it up, and it's working. It's working pretty good now. So back to not square one, but back to where we were before I stretched it poorly, and it'll make do until we do a 4-link.
Hell yeah, I like that. That's nice.
Yeah,
nice. But yeah, I don't know. That's basically my story of what started everything.
So you mentioned earlier that you also had side-by-sides in a TJ, but like, what really started your want to go off-roading? Like, was it the friends? Was it like dad? Like, what was it?
So what started? The friends. My friends had Jeeps. They started off-roading, and the mental side of things. I needed to do something that I could do independently, meaning driving independently. Somebody had to help me get in a Jeep or my side-by-side, whatever. But I was in charge again. Like, I had to ride with people all the time. My friends took me on Jeep rides all the time, and then it's like, I want to drive. It's fun going passenger, but I want to get back to driving.
Yep.
And the trigger that set me, it wasn't. So I will tell you one quick story. When 3 years after I got hurt, we were at a local bar, and met up with an old friend, talked to him, and he's a business owner, and I said, yeah, I'm ready to get back out. And he has off-road toys and stuff too. I said, I'm ready to get back out there and start driving in the woods again. I need to get back out there. I really think so. This was on a Friday night. The following Friday, I got a call from our local dealership, and it said, they said, hey, we got a Jeep out here for you. I'm like, what? They said, yeah, it's bought and paid for. You just have to come sign title. I'm like, holy fuck.
No shit.
Oh, what?
And yeah, I was like completely blown away. I didn't even know what to say. And he come to find out, this guy I was talking to said, bought me a Jeep. And I didn't even pick the Jeep up from the dealership. And I got a call from somebody else saying, hey, pick your Jeep up a couple days later at this shop. Somebody bought wheels and tires and lift for you. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's
Dude,
sick.
it completely blew my mind, but that right there changed my life, honestly. Once I got into that Jeep, my therapy excelled tremendously because my mental state was so much better. It it just boosted my whole confidence. Honestly, boosted my confidence. And then moving forward throughout the years, getting this Cherokee that I got now, being able to do what I'm doing, I can go out my driveway, transfer into my Jeep, and go by myself with no help.
That's so cool.
I can't even explain it. And I'm not gonna. This is gonna sound fucking stupid, but I feel like a fucking badass when we're driving it. I love it. I fucking love it.
I mean, anything on 42s, like, you're gonna have a like when the tire's taller than the Toyota Camry, like, it's not badass. That's for sure. There's no.
What's cool though is I go to Walmart and I jump out. I pull in the handicap spot.
Mm-hmm.
People look like I'm fucking nuts.
You probably look like an asshole till you actually get out of the thing.
Yeah, they're probably looking at me like, "What the fuck's this kid doing?" Yeah, so the looks, everything's it's fun. It's fun. But that's basically what got the story started, was mental, and then getting that Jeep, and then friends pushing me to get back into the scene again when I was at my lowest point in my life. That really changed my life, honestly.
That's really cool, because a lot of people, I don't know, like a lot of like our friends that are around us, like it always stemmed from like, oh, a friend in high school, or like my dad used to go wheeling when I was younger, stuff like that. So it's really cool to hear that. I mean, like, other than Graham's the only one that like was like an adult. Well, I mean, he was in college. Can't really call him an adult.
Well, no, that was the thing, is I had dropped out of college and I was working. I won't say a dead end job, but I didn't know what to do with myself. Similar, not nearly as extreme, but similar story, right? The wheeling and going on those trips and focusing on building something that I was fully in control of, it definitely put me on a better track, right? Those couple years where I was learning, I didn't know anything about cars when I started. I knew I liked Cherokees because I saw pictures of the big ones. I was like, I want one like that one day. And you start with the basic stuff, and that's it, right? It's not the same at all, but very, it's a similar trajectory.
I completely understand.
Right?
You're 100% right.
It's something. It just, I think, boosted my mental state as well to a certain extent. Right? Is just something that I had a lot of fun doing. I could occupy my time with when things weren't going 100% how I wanted it to be at that point in time. And I mean, it built a lot of really, really good, I built a lot of skills out of that. And I definitely got through some of the darker times of my life early on in my life as well. So I definitely resonate with what you're saying.
And you, when you're done with something, you have something, and you can say you build it, and you did it. And that's what the other thing too.
Yeah, and it's a long-term thing too, right? Because you're never gonna, you don't usually jump from you either don't have the driving skill or you don't have the rig, right? You got to piece it together, figure out what exactly you want, and that takes time. It's not something that you just poof into existence. It doesn't just show up usually. Like,
you're right.
There's going to be just learning involved across the board, and you can't shortcut that. It's a slow process, and it's there's something soothing about that, I guess. Right?
No, I agree.
Mentally,
I definitely can agree.
Keeps you level mentally, right? It's a slow burn, consistent burn, and it just it's something about it. I can't put my finger on it exactly, other than it's just
I don't have that glorious story to tell about getting into it. I just kind of like fell into it a decade before.
Well, you're from like the backwoods in Connecticut.
You
were born and got in the Jeep.
No, but like, I kind of got into it because it was cheaper than my dad was into diesel trucks, and I loved doing the diesel truck stuff. We'd go out to like the diesel nationals and stuff like that, and so I wanted to get a Cherokee, and of course, being the high schooler, I wanted to drop a 4BT into it because that was the coolest thing I could ever think of. And like, I kept doing these things and working on stuff, and it was cheaper than getting into a diesel. And of course, like, now that I had a Jeep, I had to go off-roading. We were watching the videos, Richie and myself were watching the videos of, like, that was right when Mad Ram first started becoming a thing. Like, I remember when a Mad Ram video was doing awesome if it had more than 100K views type of a deal. So, you know, but over time, it ended up becoming all of that stuff for me. And the people that I met, like, throughout the years have been awesome. And it's just been a really cool hobby that lets me, you know, let my mind roll. Because my mind works like it's on train tracks sometimes. And when you're doing wheeling stuff, you can't do that. So you have to, like, take a break from the directed course and figure out your own way, if you will. And mentally, that's been a huge help for me.
So it sounds like, I mean, everybody has a story why they got into it.
Yeah,
100%.
Why it helps them mentally, physically, and then the satisfaction of being once it's done, and it's never done, but once you get to the point you want it. No,
You
that's
definitely get a point where you're like, okay, this is I'm pretty okay with this. There's still more I can do.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
like yeah. The
Kinda when
trail
we started
therapy is
the-
definitely a thing. That's not a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of why we started the podcast as well, as like hearing everybody's individual story and hearing the little things that they learned along the way. It's, to me, that's super entertaining. I absolutely love it.
It really is. It really is. And then, yeah, it really is. It's really like what you just said, how everybody gets into it, and you get to a point like it's I'm to the point where either I gotta stop for a little bit building it, or my wife's gonna fucking make me live in the garage. So
yeah.
I'm gonna have to stop for just a little bit.
Sounds like a good friend of ours as well. Mark Nibs.
Yep. Hey, honey, I just bought sticky traps.
After he posted it for sale.
Oh my god.
Post comes down, sticky traps go on.
Let's
He's
be
not
real
selling
here.
it.
No, he's not.
He only
The
posted
last time-
to make
yeah.
his wife happy.
The last time was, like, at an almost reasonable number, but when he was asking 25 for it or whatever it was, we all knew what that was.
Honey, I tried. It didn't sell.
Yeah, I tried to get everything that I had into it back out of it, and it's just not going away. It would be a shame
no.
if I...
You would never say that, Luke. You never say, I'm just trying to get what I have into it back. 'Cause then all of your lies about how much you've been spending all these years come out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Good point. He's got a good
That's
point.
a very good point.
So I guess I'm lucky because my off-roading habits pre-existed my relationship. So she's just been around the fact that, like, I put expensive things on Jeeps and break them, and that's just what I do for fun for the entire time. So I really don't end up, like, telling her lies about what I've spent money on.
There you go. You got a healthy relationship right there. Honey,
There you go.
I dropped
It's
$3,000 on the
because-
Jeep, and I'm, it's not
It's
going to work
because
tomorrow.
you're not married, Luke. That's why.
Yeah, so I told her what the total cost was for the rebuild that it's going through right now. She's like, that fucking sucks. I'm glad I don't have to pay for it.
Oh, Morgan.
Fucking things done. Oh yeah. No, that's holy fuck. But no. So, I definitely want to get wheeling with you guys. So, shoot me a message on Instagram, each you guys, so I know who's who.
Yeah,
Definitely,
I'm the blue
yeah.
Jeep that messaged you. Hi.
Okay.
How
you doing? No, yeah, I didn't know who. I was bouncing back and forth, and it's been crazy busy these past couple weeks with getting everything ready for wheeling season, work, trying to organize all the the fun stuff. But yeah, definitely, I want to definitely meet up with you guys sometime and wheel here.
We'll we will definitely, the majority of the group, Richie unfortunately can't make the September trip because he has family obligations, if I remember correctly, but we all always show up for that trip.
Okay, sounds good.
Or almost always. The only time I missed it was like when it was...
You were middle of the move.
Yeah, I was
but you were
moving.
still recovering from that, so.
Yeah, that was an expensive endeavor.
Who would have thought?
You missed a Roush trip?
Yes,
Yeah, I did.
It was very sad.
Mm-hmm.
But I made the Harlan trip.
Yeah, I guess that's why I don't really register it because you made that Harlan trip.
Dude, I made that Harlan trip by a fucking shoestring. So Zach, for reference, right? I got a job offer in Tennessee, and it was one of those things where, like, it just kind of spiraled out of control. My Jeep wasn't even done, and, like, I had to go. So Graham ended up finishing it, and I made the drive from Tennessee to Boston, back to Tennessee, and then the next weekend I had it at Harlan. Like,
Holy,
yeah, it was.
that's wild.
I made really good time. I made Boston to Tennessee in 18 hours. So,
And then you had to go. Then you went back with the Jeep.
Harlan's 3 hours. To go back up north, I stopped and crashed at Richie's for the night. So I made it to Richie's place in 13 hours.
Yup.
So when it comes to road tripping, if it's just me, I don't stop. Like, if the truck can go, we're going.
Damn, that's awesome. That's a hell of a trip.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that was a long night too. The Jeep wasn't even done. He pulls in. And we're still like, well, we don't have a drive shaft or rear bump stop pads and something else too. I forget. So we're like scrambling to finish this thing.
Yeah, so we scrambled to finish it. We got back to Graham's house at 1 a.m. I slept until like 8 o'clock.
You were gone before I even woke up.
Yeah,
just about when I woke up, you were like ready to go, like in the truck. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think we had a cup of coffee and I was out the door, and I stole like 3 of your breakfast bars. I made it all the way back to Connecticut before having to get fuel, so that was good.
That's good, yeah.
But it's wild the stuff that you end up doing as a result. Like your XJ build, that kind of stupidity, it just keeps on rolling and it never ends up stopping. So there's a couple of dudes that you should probably look up by you. One of them's been on here. His name's Anthony. I suppose that it really doesn't matter if I fucking give his last name away, but Anthony Carnes. He's kind of close to you, if I remember correctly, in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And they don't wheel Roush a lot, but they wheel Good Evening Ranch quite a bit. They constantly are messaging me to go there, some spots in Ohio and whatnot. So
Anthony
they're pretty
Carnes.
good dudes.
Okay, cool. That's what we're looking for. People to wheel with. So
there's no shortage. You just gotta find them, right? They exist.
That's the thing, you gotta find them.
And the Kremers. Once you meet Anthony, you'll meet that whole group.
Yeah, those guys are all awesome. I think they're coming down to AOP for the meet and beat.
Oh, so fuck, they are.
Yeah,
I have to call that motherfucker.
Sounds like great friends. Jeez.
Yeah, nice.
You gotta call that motherfucker.
I call him a motherfucker out of a term of endearment.
He called me I think last month and said he was coming down. I was like, oh sweet, so I'll have somebody to camp with. I won't have to just camp by myself or find a group. I'm sure I'd find a group, but you know.
Where's that at? You guys said AOP?
Yeah, AOP.
Yeah. That's South Pittsburgh, Tennessee.
South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah, and not to be confused with Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, which would be much closer.
No doubt.
That'd be lovely.
That trip is first weekend in May.
First weekend in May.
Yeah, so it's right
That's
around
like-
the corner.
Right around the
Yep.
corner. Yeah, fuck.
Um,
Well, keep me posted on your guys' trips. See where I can end up. That'd be fucking awesome. I just pulled up this AOP page. I want to see it. I'm gonna save it.
AOP is so Windrock gets a lot of fame, right? It's a
Yeah.
cool park, and I'm not trying to talk too much shit on it, but I'm notorious for talking shit on Windrock. The real draw for me is AOP, because AOP, you can hop in there and literally from the first like hitting the entrance, if you choose to, you can be on buggy trails, or you can be wheeling hard stuff, and you're never more than 45 minutes from the truck and trailer. So like Windrock, you can be 8 hours from the truck and trailer.
So you can wheel some pretty good trails pretty close to the truck and trailer.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is much
Yeah.
harder in those
Mhm.
places where there's tons of land, right?
Damn.
Like when we were in Kentucky, we broke on a buddy of ours broke on the top of a mountain. Well, it's like, shoot, well, he's got to go. His ball joints fell out. So we need to
Oh,
go get
shit.
a ball joint
44
tool.
problems.
So
And the fucked up part was my Jeep wasn't running, and I left with the ball joint tool that day.
yeah, it was a giant nightmare. Right.
My
so
God.
being close to the trailer is nice. I mean, not always possible, but there's some great wheeling that is far out there, but definitely adds to the complexity. There's some convenience to having things close and condense for sure. And that's what we're used to in New England, and Pennsylvania is kind of similar. Rust
Yeah.
Creek's a little bit of an exception, but
Yeah.
The other part that's cool is you can enter that trail system, and you will never be more than 45 minutes from the truck and trailer, but you will not hit everything in a 10-hour day, maybe 3 days. You could probably wheel that entire park in 3 days, but like for 2 days, you're not going to see
depends on the
everything
rig.
there. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm talking about his rig.
Yeah, well, yeah, stuff like ours, and just not full blown buggy status where
Yeah.
things are a little tougher. Even those hard trails that are easy
Are a
with
little harder.
42s or 40s can they're tough. The wheeling out there is tough.
That'd be fucking cool.
The only point that I will warn you is that it is the most weather-dependent place I have ever wheeled.
Really?
Yes. So last year's meet and beat, it was
bone dry.
it was the driest I have ever seen Tennessee. I've only been here for 2 years though, so like, take that with a grain of salt. But the 2 weekends later, for the Memorial Day ride, I went back with trail trash. It rained the day before. The obstacles and stuff that I was walking up in like first gear, not even paying attention to driving. I was second and third gear rev bombing to get up stuff on 40-inch Nittos. And like everyone else was doing the exact same thing. Exact same trail like that we went up when we were.
That was like our little
That's
warm up, like putts up trail that we didn't even really have to try on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking rev bombs everywhere. That's where that video of me getting sideways and like flopping out of that ledge that Trail Trash posted came from that second weekend. So there's like this little rock that juts out, right? It's nothing major. You're in like a kind of a deep washout and you're going up it. Well, it was so slick and shitty that I could not crawl up the side of the bank like you have to do to avoid hitting the rock and taking out your quarter panel and all of that. And I kept sliding over until my Jeep is like 90 degrees up the side of this embankment. And this embankment's it's taller than I am by a good 3 feet. So I'm like right on the cusp of 6. I ended up having to put it into first, absolute rev bomb it, and like flop my Jeep intentionally back over and try and do a controlled flop to get around this rock.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Apparently it worked.
It worked. But like normally, if it's dry, you just kind of like cut your steering wheel a couple of degrees around and like cut back over when you start feeling off camber. So it's crazy, but AOP is a blast. It should definitely be a bucket list park.
It's added, definitely.
Harlan's a cool park, but you're out in the boonies, and I don't know if you get vertigo.
I'll give the entrance and exit trail a 4 out of 10. I'm sure Morgan would give it lower, but
Not very good.
It's a slick, sloppy mess. Like, like
call it a shoot, if you will.
Yeah, it's a shoot, and there's there's a couple questionable spots. Like, it's tough when you got some smaller rigs rolling on it, and this is just like the access. Like, you're not even really on a trail yet. Like, you are, but it was wild. Good park, really cool access or cool obstacles once you can find them, but getting to them.
Yeah, that first day we were just like, fucking loping around.
We didn't have any idea. We were like, where are the rocks? Where's the rock garden? Then we found the first one we found. We were like, there they are. There's some rocks.
Oh, yeah. That was fucking awesome.
Brought you to Devil's Den. Then you're like, whoa, here we go. Something fun to do.
Rail bed? Yeah.
Yeah, rail beds. Railbed's a trip. Harlan's another park where the night rides go wild.
That was interesting, yeah.
The further south you go, the crazier the night rides are.
Really?
Yes.
Pretty crazy.
It's fucking... Harlan was probably one of the nuttiest. Like, we went down to Railbed, and I don't know if you know who Overtime is.
Yeah.
Overtime and his group was down there, and they had been drinking. And so, this one guy, I forget his name, but he had a red CJ buggy with a 302 in it. He flopped his rig 3 times in the same spot. And then
we'd winch him back over, and then he'd try the same line again, and it wouldn't work.
Beer and try the same line again.
Oh my god!
So we get him cleared out of there. Overtime hops up in there, and he's hitting it, and he's got a nicer rig, so like he didn't try and flop it there, so he just kind of like admitted defeat, back down off of it. We got 99 White XJ was there, so he hops up on there. Did he made it, right?
I have no idea. I wasn't there, so
yeah,
you're out of my wheelhouse.
No, he rolled, didn't he?
Yeah, you're right. He did roll.
Yeah, he rolled,
and then he made it after we flipped him back over.
Okay, yeah, because he was so close, and then he just didn't back off of it right, and then he rolled or something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. And so we talked to our buddy Curtis, who's been on the podcast 1,000,001 times,
but he doesn't wheel anymore. It's
saddening.
Yeah, it's a problem. We're working on it.
If you ever get a chance, bully him about it. But so I'm riding with him, and he hits it twice, and he's like, maybe I should hit it in double low. And I was like, yes, double low, second gear. So he does that, and he rides this thing like a cowboy. Right onto its side, or did it go all the way over to its lid? No,
you hit the tree and it was kind of sideways, and the doors fell off because it was on the side.
Yeah. And so I threw a door at Colin Bates because, like, I tried to get the door to open before I pulled the harnesses, and Colin got to catch a door.
Because it's got like the removable doors, so the door opened, but the door's facing gravity's now pulling the door off.
And then I'm gonna turn this one over to this is where I'm gonna throw it back to Graham because he can tell the rest of his night better than I can.
Well, I didn't do anything crazy stupid, but you would have thought I did. I lost a brake line just sitting there, like just the brake line let go. So I had to crimp that off. No big deal. I had just put I won't say I put one in. I threw a gear set in the front because I had blown the good gear set out of it. So I put it in. It was very quick. This is again, we had to get Luke's Jeep done. So it was Luke's Jeep came first. My Jeep came second. I didn't have a lot of time to put my Jeep back together and do a gear set. So it was
so
not
you didn't care because it was the Dana 50.
Oh yeah, true. It was the Dana 52. It wasn't really a great axle. I already blew it up. I knew it was on the chopping block, but I threw a gear set in it anyways. I blew it up literally probably 100 feet up the trail as we were leaving.
Oh my!
Just going through this boring little rock garden. This is like the first night. We had done the first day. The first night it blew the front ring and pinion, so I was upset. Either way, now I don't have a front brake line, no front drive because the gear set was blown up. So we keep going. We stop at that crappy access trail off where people are sliding down it. Like literally you have to get enough speed to slide down this thing so you don't kick sideways because somebody rolled. They were actually pulling somebody off or back onto their lid or off their lid so they could move out of the way, go down, do whatever they needed to do. There was a little bit of a traffic jam there as they did that. They got all that stuff out of the way. Everybody went. A couple people, I forget if Curtis or who was in front of me, or I think Colin was in front of me. No,
Colin
he was behind me.
Yeah, Colin was behind you, and we were behind Curtis, or I was with Curtis, and we were behind Colin. And so part of the thing that makes this suck so much is if you had working four-wheel drive, you have to kind of like get your front driver tire down this. It's a hard left turn with a bit of like a bank to it, but the bank is opposing the direction you have to turn, kind of. Okay. So you
basically
like go.
There's a ledge. Yeah, you described it well enough, I guess. It's you're going straight, and then to your left is the downhill, but you have to position your nose down. So you're going along this ridge, backing up onto like the hill behind the trail, so you can point down the ridge, and then you just have to point and shoot as you slide down this because it was so wet. And I had no front drive and only one front brake, and I was.
Well, that's sketchy.
Yeah, it didn't work. This is what happened. So I ended up sliding. It kicked me sideways. I didn't roll, but I hit the. It pushed me in a weird spot, and it blew out one of my rear tires. I hit a rock, and it debeated it. I don't think it killed it, but it wasn't happy. So now I effectively have one wheel that's doing any work because one of them doesn't have a tire.
Yeah.
There's no front drive. So there was still a significant amount of trail to get down. And of course, Luke's girlfriend's with me, and she won't go on night rides again. And it wasn't. I mean.
So the part that he doesn't explain is that they were on the edge of a 200-foot cliff or 150-foot cliff, and she was on the side that got caught on the tree.
It didn't help that either the brake
didn't help.
Yeah, and our vice grips that were on that brake line, like they were leaking because we hammered it flat and it didn't quite get it, and then we did some other stuff. Well, it was leaking at it. That's right. There was no vice grips. We hammered it flat. So I was holding the brake so nothing moved. Not that I don't know how much it was actually helping, but I could like feel the pedal like slightly move down every 30 seconds or so.
Stab.
Just like kind of slowly go down and leak down. I was like, that's not really what I want to be feeling. And so it was kind of a mess. But yeah, that was, and I came out worse than any of the guys who rolled. So
it rolled on.
I should have just rolled it.
Oh my god!
And the funny part about this is when we were divvying up seats, because I was like, do you want to ride with Curtis or do you want to ride with Graham? And she goes, I'm going to ride with Graham. He drives safer. 20 minutes before this happened, because she just watched Curtis roll his Jeep. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's
the wrong one.
So we're coming up on close to the 2 hours that we normally keep these episodes at. You got any questions for us before we start wrapping up?
I don't think so. I think this is awesome. I had a lot of fun, honestly. This was very cool to talk to you guys and meet you guys.
All right.
Likewise. I think it's been super fun.
Definitely got to meet up and shoot me a message on Instagram so I know each profile
Who's
you
who?
guys. Yeah,
Definitely.
who's who. Cool.
All right.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, guys.
Well,
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming on, man. We really appreciate
Yeah.
it. And we can give Caitlin a big thanks because she was, which is my girlfriend. She was the one that actually sent me your page and was like, "Dude, you gotta check this out. This is so fucking cool. I love this." And then that's what I sent to the guys. And I'm like, "So what do you think?" And Luke was like, "I'm fucking on it. I'm messaging him right now." And I'm really excited about it.
Well, thank you guys. I really, really, really appreciate it. It was very, like I said, it was very cool to talk to you guys.
awesome. So, I would say on that note, anyone got anything else, or should I take it out?
Take it out.
All right. Let's see. This one's gonna be.
He's gotta
Give me
think
one
about it.
second.
You didn't-
1 second. I wanna. Yeah, no one had anything, so I was gonna use that time. But make sure that when you grab the throttle, you don't accidentally hit the brakes. And if you're gonna do anything to your Jeep, consider putting in a decent set of seats because those are the best upgrade you can make.
Boom.
That one really wasn't my best outro.
Hey,
No, not at all.
It was better than what I could have randomly came up with. Okay, mister.